He was the king of Jerusalem, the king of Sicily, the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, but was also the Antichrist. Frederick II was excommunicated and proclaimed a heretic 3 times by 2 popes, while simultaneously being the Holy Roman Emperor. Still, he diplomatically retook Jerusalem and accomplished something the Crusaders couldn't do for over 40 years. Frederick II waged merciless wars against 3 successive popes and earned the title the Antichrist. He spoke 6 languages, loved falconry, wrote books, and helped Giacomo da Lentini invent the sonnet. Despite his significant contributions to the pre-Renaissance era, Dante didn't hesitate to place him in the Inferno's 6th circle of hell for heresy. Welcome to Uncharted History, and today we'll focus on the reign of Frederick II, a rational Holy Roman Emperor who almost destroyed the papacy, and with it, Christianity. Frederick II had to earn every one of his royal titles, from King of Jerusalem to Antichrist. Even his relation to his father, Henry VI, had to be proven. Holy Roman Emperor Henry VI of the Hohenstaufen dynasty married Constance of Sicily in 1194. Henry didn't trust his wife, so Constance was forced to swear on the Gospels before a papal legate to prove Frederick was Henry's true son. This act led to gossip and rumor, ranging from Constance giving birth on a canopy raised in the central square of Jesi, a town near Ancona, to Frederick somehow being related to Merlin's mythical prophecy. None were true, of course. He was born one day after Christmas, on December 26, 1194, and his mother named him Constantine. However, the 2-year baptism, Henry renamed his son after his father, Frederick Barbarossa. That same year, in 1196, at 2 years old, Frederick was named King of the Romans. The following year, Henry VI plundered Sicily and sent the valuables to the Holy Roman Empire. Unfortunately, he contracted malaria during the siege of Napoli and died in 1197. Chaos ensued. While Henry VI's brothers, Philip of Swabia and Otto of Brunswick, fought over the reins for the Holy Roman Empire, Constance became Queen Regent in Sicily in 1198, naming her son King of Sicily when he was 4 years old. Unfortunately, she died that same year. Her son was left in the guardianship of Pope Innocent III while being tutored by Cencio Savelli. Ironically, Cencio later became Pope Honorius III, one of Frederick's bitter rivals. From the age of 4 until the age of 14, Frederick II was held prisoner by either Philip of Swabia or William of Caperonne. Despite his brutal childhood, young Frederick had an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. He was fluent in 6 languages: Latin, Sicilian, Middle High German, Provençal, Greek, and Arabic. At the age of 14, in 1208, he was ready to rule as King of Sicily. From the day he assumed the throne, young Frederick began putting the Sicilian nobility in line. After defeating his uncle Otto of Brunswick for the papacy during the Battle of Bouvines on 27 July 1214, the Pope promised to crown Frederick Holy Roman Emperor. But the Pope's support came at a steep cost. Frederick had to promise Pope Innocent III he would join the 5th Crusade to retake Jerusalem. Since the 4th Crusade ended with the sacking and burning of Constantinople in 1204, would the 5th be any different? At the brink of war, Pope Innocent III died on July 16, 1216. 1 week later, the Church consecrated Honorius III, who continued the war effort. In early July 1217, crusaders from all European nations embarked across the Mediterranean aboard Venetian ships to free Jerusalem from Muslim hold. 30,000 crusaders were about to invade the Holy Land, but Frederick II wasn't one of them. He returned to Sicily and sent Louis I, Duke of Bavaria, in his stead. While awaiting Frederick's arrival, the Crusaders attacked the city of Damietta. The port city on the Nile was fortified by 3 walls of different heights. Behind the walls were dozens of towers filled with hundreds of archers and soldiers. The city's pillar was Burj al-Silsila, known as the Chain Tower. It connected the remaining towers with colossal chains, making ship passage nearly impossible. The siege of Damietta lasted from July 1218 until November 1219, when the Crusaders pronounced victory. In return for peace, Sultan al-Kamil promised to hand over Jerusalem. Emboldened by their victory and the promise of Frederick's arrival, the Crusaders refused. They marched on Cairo. Suddenly their luck shifted and suffered a great loss. The Crusaders were forced to return home in 1221. Frederick II was proclaimed Holy Roman Emperor in 1220 by Pope Honorius III, his old tutor, at the age of 26. The papacy anticipated Frederick's journey to Jerusalem, but the newly crowned Holy Roman Emperor failed to fulfill his pledge. His broken promise stirred resentment among the defeated Crusaders and the Pope, who felt betrayed by his former student. After the death of Frederick's wife in 1222, Honorius III organized a meeting with John of Brienne in 1223. The Pope forged a plan and urged John to give his daughter, Isabella II, to Frederick II, making him heir to the Kingdom of Jerusalem. After the wedding ceremonies had ended in the city of Acre in August of 1225, Frederick felt an obligation towards his wife to free the Holy Land. Thanks to Frederick, the Sixth Crusade would be the last successful of the 8. History seemed to be repeating itself, so while preparing for war, Honorius III died, and Gregory IX was elected Pope in 1227. In August 1227, the now 33-year-old monarch and his army boarded the crusading fleet and set sail to Jerusalem from Brindisi. However, midway across the Mediterranean, an epidemic erupted, and seizing upon it as a bad omen, Frederick II chose to return home. For his disobedience, Pope Gregory IX excommunicated him. Deemed a heretic, crusading was now forbidden. Still, Frederick set sail for Jerusalem in June 1228, earning him a second excommunication. Proving he was a devout Christian, Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II began negotiations with the Sultan of the Ayyubid Empire. For reclaiming Jerusalem, Frederick promised Al-Kamil a 10-year truce and military aid in battles against the Ayyubid Empire's vengeful rivals, the Sultan's two brothers, Al-Muazzam Isa and Al-Ashraf Musa, rulers of Damascus and Syria, respectively. Al-Kamil agreed because relinquishing control over Jerusalem temporarily was a cheap price to pay for military support. Suddenly, what the Crusaders couldn't accomplish in 40 years, Frederick did in a few months. The Pope felt betrayed again. The papacy's war machine was undermined by an excommunicated heretic in just a few days. Furious at this non-believer, the Pope waged war on Sicily during Frederick II's stay in Jerusalem. When Frederick heard the news, he immediately sailed back to Sicily. The Pope and the Reinald of Spoleto thought they would corner Frederick II, but the Emperor's fury was unmatched. The King of Jerusalem planned the attack aboard the ship. As soon as he set foot in Brindisi on June 10th, he launched a frenzied counterattack. Before long, Frederick recovered Sicily and tried the barons who rebelled. Frederick II forced the papacy to sign the Treaty of San Germano in July 1230, putting an end to the war. Instead of peace, the Lombard League of Nobles rebelled, striking fear in Frederick. The emperor knew the Lombard League was a fierce enemy and one of the few who had opposed Frederick Barbarossa, his grandfather. When the Lombard nobles started rebelling, the emperor rushed to Italy to quash the insurgents. During a decisive battle in Cortenuova in the fall of 1237, Frederick was victorious. Wanting to punish the insurgents, Frederick attacked Milan. For waging war, Gregory IX excommunicated Frederick in 1239, his third so far. Just like before, Frederick couldn't care less for eternal damnation. After celebrating Christmas in Pisa, the emperor was tired of Gregory's antics. In 1240, he forged a masterful plan to attack Rome and return the splendors of the Roman Empire. The march on Rome was stopped by Gregory's invasion of Apulia in Sicily. No pope could match Frederick's military genius, so he quickly regained Sicily. The pope yielded, but peace negotiations failed. So Frederick II captured a delegation of papal prelates after the naval battle of Giglio in 1241. With his 2 prisoners and an army at his back, he marched on Rome. As they advanced to Italy's current capital, the army destroyed and burned Umbria. Every day, Frederick drew closer and closer to exacting vicious revenge on Gregory IX. Unfortunately, the Pope passed away on August 22, 1241. With his death, Frederick's plans collapsed like a house of cards. Had the emperor attacked the papacy, he would have been waging war on Christianity. Wanting to show the people that his war was with the Pope and not the Church of Rome, Frederick recalled his troops and released the prisoners. Retreating in Sicily, Frederick II anxiously awaited the election of a new pope. Despite coming from a Genoese noble family sworn to serve the Holy Roman Emperor, Pope Innocent IV proved to be Frederick's fiercest enemy. Innocent IV was elected on June 25, 1243, and Frederick finally found his match. Innocent was a brilliant diplomat and a master strategist. He supported princes, sent money, and used his papal authority to marginalize Frederick, fearing the emperor would go to war with the papacy, like he did previously. Innocent IV called him everything from a heretic to the Antichrist. Nothing worked. Wars were raging. The region was in chaos, and Frederick was growing weary. By 1247, the Holy Roman Emperor's power had waned, and the Lombard League used this golden opportunity and took back their land. When Frederick heard the news about the attack on Parma, he allied with the tyrant of Verona and attacked. They besieged Parma and enclosed it inside a wooden city, which he named Vittoria, which meant victory. Frederick hoped to starve the Lombards to death. Frederick's plan failed, and during the Battle of Parma on February 18, 1248, the emperor lost about a third of his 5,600 soldiers. Meanwhile, the Pope launched a new crusade against Sicily. Frederick was old and exhausted. He could no longer wage wars. Sensing Frederick's weakness, the other noblemen rebelled. The Holy Roman Emperor was surrounded by wars. On December 13, 1250, after contracting dysentery, Frederick II died peacefully in his bed in Castel Fiorentino in Apulia at the age of 56. The Great Interregnum set in, as a period when the empire's line of succession was contested, since Frederick's son William could not contain the insurgents. For almost a century, the empire's two-headed eagle emblem was turned into a headless chicken. Despite being dubbed the Antichrist by the Pope, Frederick took back Jerusalem while contributing immensely to literature, arts, and falconry. Because he dared to question the Pope's infallibility, one man brought Rome to heel in a legendary fashion. This is Uncharted History. See you in our next video.